Monster. There's enough scary stuff out there without a horrible creature that takes the form of your parents coming after you.
Wow,
it's effective. It's an effective horror. It still haunts me, Greg.
It apparently does.
Haunting me to this day.
It follows you around. I don't know. That was a terrible pun. We'll just leave it at that. Hello.
Hi.
This is Between the Streams. This is our weekly podcast here at Digital Trends, where we talk about movies and entertainment and everything going on in the world of that. We keep you up to date with what's happening, everything that we've discovered over the week. We'll talk about the box office. We have a lot to get to today. I will say our theme here to start off, our question that we put up, has to do with horror movies, because it seems like horror movies are in the middle of a whole renaissance.
They're having a nice moment.
They're making a big comeback. There's a lot of them out there right now. We're going to discuss some of those, but we wanted to ask this question just for everybody watching. What's your favorite horror movie over the last 5 years? And I'll be honest, I have not seen a lot of them, so I'm kind of curious what the suggestions are.
Yeah.
I've seen a few, but I'm not a big horror movie guy. But if it's really good, I want to watch it.
You like those ghost story weird, I do like found footage ones or whatever.
Some of them. Yeah, that's like a guilty pleasure that I don't admit to.
It Follows. I think that's an easy choice for me. Although A Quiet Place is really close. Although I think of A Quiet Place more like sci-fi horror. So it's kind of hard to. But It Follows is one of the most unique, interesting, and just sort of chilling horror movies of the last few years that I can remember.
Well, we're going to discuss all of this, and we want to hear your comments, suggestions. So we're broadcasting live on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube right now. Got them all. And we're broadcasting live on there, so let us know what your favorite horror movie of the last 5 years is, and we're going to discuss those. I'm Greg Nibbler.
I'm Ryan Juanita.
And we did want to do something here just at the start of the show, not to take it out of the flow of things, but just to bring it up because, there's no denying the biggest news of the day right now. As we're broadcasting this episode, has to do with Anthony Bourdain, which, I'm sure we're not breaking the news to everybody. Anthony Bourdain passed away, allegedly to suicide this morning. And just wanted to bring that up for a second because, obviously, on a serious note, if anybody's feeling depressed, please seek help. There are options out there for you. Contact somebody, write somebody, reach out, because there are lots of opportunities out there for help.
Absolutely.
But besides that, just since we are a movie and television show, I did want to bring up his series, which, in case you haven't watched them, for me, they're some of my favorite shows of all time. No Reservations was a great series that had 142 episodes that he aired of that. And I think for a lot of people, you look at Anthony Bourdain, and if you don't watch him, you may think it's just about food. Yeah. And I'm not a big food guy either.
It's more like Zen philosophy in there, though. Or maybe not Zen, but there's a deeper philosophy to it for him.
There is
experiences.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, and No Reservations, the way I liked it is, it's basically he goes around the world and experiences different cultures. Yeah. And the food was just kind of a vehicle to drive it along. Right. But I mean, he went everywhere, and it was always so much fun to watch him interact with his hosts or his guides who would take him around to the local things, because that's when I travel, I like to go to the local places, and experience what that culture's like, and that's what his show did in such a great way of bringing in the audience and tying you into it and making you a part of wherever it was he was getting to go experience. Obviously I can't go fly to Azerbaijan right now, but I can watch his show about it and see or Armenia or wherever the different places that he would go. And so it was a really, really fascinating series. So I would say, if you haven't seen it, give it a shot. It's a great series. He also has Parts Unknown on CNN. Right. That one's really easy to see.
Yeah, and I was reading a piece about him today, and really he's been given a lot of credit in large part to this sort of awakening that we've had in maybe the last decade in New York, maybe the last decade and a half or more, of just sort of all of the different kinds of world food that we're all really exposed to now. I mean, people maybe not remember, but especially growing up maybe in a more rural area, you didn't have a lot of exposure to foods outside of, your basic Italian, maybe some Mexican and maybe some Americanized Chinese, but we have just opened up this entire rainbow of colors and flavors, and he's been given a lot of credit to having pushed that forward just because of his platform and because he's so interested in other cultures and other ways of tasting, literally tasting life and sort of experiencing when you eat with someone, as they say, you sort of experience how they live. You walk in their shoes a little bit, and I think that was a big part of what he was trying to do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that was a lot of his shows. He would, like you said, you sit down for a meal, whatever whatever the
their
people
customs,
locally
their
eat,
stuff.
their customs,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
then just talk about life.
Yeah.
What's your day like? And then they would sometimes talk about broader things or smaller things. I think my favorite episode ever that he did is in the second season of No Reservations. They went to Beirut, and in the middle of filming this show, just he had his guide there with him and his buddy, and they're going around Beirut, and all of a sudden you start hearing like sirens,
right?
And there's dudes running down or driving down the street with machine guns.
I remember that.
And it was when Israel was bombing, and there was a whole Hamas thing going on. It was in the middle of filming,
yes.
And they ended up having to go to their hotel and hide out.
And he became sort of a journalist then,
Yeah.
more than he usually
documented
is.
what was
He did a
happening.
really interesting job. I saw some of that footage. It's really interesting.
It's really great.
Yeah.
And I know it's not streaming anywhere, but I'll just say this. If you do happen to Google Anthony Bourdain Beirut, perhaps it pops up right away somewhere. I'm just going to say that you can probably find it.
You can find it, yeah.
And I would suggest watching that episode. It's a fascinating thing. So the bottom line is,
it's a bummer, and
it's a bummer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And where he seemed like a really interesting guy. One other quick anecdote I read: someone said I only met him once. It was at a food festival, and he just said to me, "Hey kid, you hungry?" They were in line at like a food truck, and just said all of a sudden we were buddies, and he just kind of had that way around people. He knew how to make people feel at home and feel happy. So whatever kind of demons he had in his life, he gave a lot to other people. So
it really did.
Yeah,
100%. So rest in peace. And
Absolutely.
like I said, if you're feeling depressed, please reach out and find some help. There's a lot of help out there for you, and you're not alone. All right. Let's get back to talking about silly movies and television.
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's go back to
that's what we're better at.
That exactly. That's what we're good at. So let's talk about horror movies.
All right.
So the reason we're bringing this up is because there's a big one that's coming out this weekend that I think a lot of people are excited about.
It's really getting crazy buzz right now.
Yeah, maybe we should just talk about that and then I'm seeing some comments come through. We want to see what your favorite horror movie is of the last 5 years. But the one that we're discussing here that's out this weekend is called Hereditary. And you may not have heard of it. Maybe you've seen some trailers. It did get a bunch of it was in the news around Easter, I believe, because in Australia there was a showing of Peter Rabbit, which is
like
animated,
my favorite thing that's happened in a theater in the last decade.
Yeah, it's an animated kids movie, and during that they showed the wrong trailers, and they showed this trailer. If you're watching live, we're going to play it right now.
People were running out of the theater with their children, like covering their eyes. Yeah. Kids are screaming and crying. It's like one of the scariest trailers. There's a guy bashing his head against a desk. And
it's a horror trailer, not good for kids at all. But this movie though looks really good, and
it has Ann Dowd in it too, which she is just she's fantastic from The Handmaid's Tale.
Yes,
and it's got a really good cast, and it just looks like it's going to be pretty compelling.
Yeah, and it's essentially to kind of give what it's generally about, and obviously it's a little bit convoluted because you don't know where this is going to go, which is why I like these kinds of thrillers that they're coming out with. It says when Ellen, the matriarch of the Graham family, passes away, her daughter's family begins to unravel cryptic and increasingly terrifying secrets about their ancestry. And the more they discover, the worse it is. Apparently she was a terrible person, or who knows, or a demon, or I don't know.
Right.
Who knows where it's going to go. But the trailer does look really good.
Yeah.
It looks pretty compelling.
Yeah, it's getting great reviews. So,
and I feel like over this last, especially 5 years, as we're getting more horror movies that are coming out, we're seeing finally some things that are kind of breaking the normal stereotype. Here's how the horror movie is, and crazy guy's gonna come kill you, and then at the end, it was your dad all the whole time, or something.
Yeah, I think in some ways they're breaking the stereotype, and in other ways they're sort of returning to form, because there was this sort of fear for a while of making a rated R movie because you're losing part of the audience.
Yeah.
And I think what you're doing is instead they figured out that when you make a milquetoast product, you're not only losing, you're losing your whole audience.
Yeah.
If you don't make something great. So they've taken, they've started to take these risks, as we talk about a lot in comic book movies with some rated R movies, and horror movies have come back from this PG-13 weird almost horror movie they were in for a long time, and now they're actually making hardcore movies again, and that's what people want to see. If you want to see a horror movie, let's make a horror movie. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And that's what's interesting about this new trailer for the movie franchise that will not die, Halloween, that we got this week. And I was so tired of it, and I was just angry about it, because I'm just like, stop doing this to this amazing franchise that I loved. Yeah. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, okay, at least they're going for it. Jamie Lee Curtis is really going for it.
Well, and that's the thing. So we got the trailer this week. It's October 19th is when this comes out again, of course, right around Halloween. Another Halloween movie. And this one bringing Jamie Lee Curtis back. How that happens, I don't really know. I'm sure they'll explain that. And yeah, the trailer does look like it's back to kind of what it was. You know, it's a much older Jamie Lee Curtis, naturally, and yeah, it looks Halloweeny.
It does, and it looks like a cool premise. I mean, there's a lot of like no-name actors and stuff, but they brought the mask back. They're trying to pay homage to it after the travesty that was Halloween H2O, which. Yeah, if you've seen it, it's probably worth seeing just like as a comedy.
One of those ones.
It's essentially a comedy. Yeah. There's like basically a college gets shut down, and oh no, Michael Myers is here, and it's really not scary
Where'd
at all.
you come from?
I think that one might even be PG-13. I can't remember, but if it's not, it's still terrible. But anyway, I'm giving it my blessing now because I know they were worried about that.
The coveted Ryan
blessing. Yes, the Juanita
has
blessing
been given.
Indeed.
Taking a look here at some of the comments coming through. Vicky says, "Does Get Out qualify as a horror movie?"
Absolutely,
yeah,
and that is one of the best ones, and that's right up there. Although to me, it's got so much comedy in it. I loved every part of that from start to finish, but I think that absolutely qualifies, and it's close on my top list.
Jacob says The Witch, which actually we were just talking about this before we started broadcasting.
Movie.
The Witch I have not seen.
It is really
Ryan
disturbing.
described something very disturbing
it's
from
really
it.
Disturbing.
And so I will watch that. And actually, right now at Digital Trends, we have a huge list of horror movies that are available to stream on Netflix and Hulu and Amazon Prime. That you can check out right there and take a look.
And the interesting thing about Get Out, if I could just say real quickly, is it's almost an anti-horror movie because it sort of does, I don't want to give much away, but it sort of does some things that like, changes the paradigm, like inverts the paradigm in a really cool way.
Okay.
We can talk about that at some point when it's no longer a spoiler, I guess. But basically, it just has some elements that really invert it. And it's just a joy of a film. It's an amazing movie for those who haven't seen it. So that's a great choice.
Philip says Bubba Hotep. I mean, that's a great one. That's a little bit longer than 5 years ago, but that is a fantastic movie.
And Babadook, if you haven't seen that one, that's pretty intense.
Yeah, Babadook is pretty good.
You like to do that, don't you?
It's like a tick.
It sounds just like
anytime I hear Babadook, I have to do that. Babadook.
It's not scary when you do it.
I'll stop now.
I'm going to tell
you. It's not the same effect.
Yeah.
Arseem says Get Out and A Quiet Place, without a doubt.
Yeah, of course.
I have not seen
We have to mention A Quiet Place. All of those are great choices.
Yeah.
And again, this is why we're talking about this. This is a renaissance. These movies are essentially instant classics as they come out, in my opinion. So
there's some good suggestions being on here. Rhonda says, I love Darkness Falls. I haven't seen Darkness Falls.
I have not seen that one.
So
I have heard of it.
We'll put on the list for Darkness Falls. Doug says, Drag Me to Hell. I'll be honest, I did not like Drag Me to Hell, but I understand that there's a...
I heard good things.
There's some definite fans of Drag Me to Hell. Yeah. So there's a lot of them. So keep those suggestions coming in. We would love to see those because obviously we can't watch everything.
Or can we?
Or can we? We will try. Give us a challenge, and we'll watch it. So we'll keep on talking about horror movies. Keep on dropping in your favorites there as we go through the show. But we do need to talk about the rest of the box office.
Sure. Yeah, there's some good choices.
Some good choices, and we do have a bunch of news about casting, some series, some Star Trek news, more Quentin Tarantino news, lots of things coming up. Talking about the box office this weekend, though, in addition to Hereditary, which is out, we do have Ocean's 8 is finally out this weekend.
And this looks fun. I think this will be a good getaway movie for people.
Yeah. If you want to break
cast.
from the big blockbuster, what am I thinking of? Blockbuster comic book movies and all of that going on, this would be a good alternative. It took me a while to get there.
I see that you wrote something down about Awkwafina, which I think is interesting because I find her strangely compelling and funny, but I could get why someone would find her annoying.
I find her the opposite.
She's a lot
myself.
of what she is. I find. I was just thinking about this the other day. She's just really.
I didn't know I was going to say that on the show, but I'll be honest. Yes, Awkwafina. For some reason, she just annoys me so much.
I actually like her. But I think this whole cast. I think this whole cast, even if you don't like some of them. I think they're all talented. I think it's going to be really fun to see them play off each other. So.
Yeah, it is a great cast, and there's a bunch of. I didn't realize too that a lot of the older people are coming back from the originals. I guess Matt Damon,
making some cameos.
Reiner. Carl Reiner is 96 years old, so if he is in this,
good on him.
More power to you, Carl Reiner.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Sandra Bullock, Kate Blanchett, Helen Bonham Carter, Mindy Kaling, Anne Hathaway, Rihanna, Sarah Paulson, and Awkwafina. I mean, that's crazy.
That's a pretty good cast.
That's 4 movies.
Yeah, that's and you'll probably get 4
and
movies
a couple of series.
Yep, and you could get that too. So Ocean's 8 out this weekend. We also have Hotel Artemis, which I had not done a lot of research on before, but I'm very fascinated with this one. This is probably the one I would go see if I were to go to a movie this weekend. And Hotel Artemis it's one night in this lodge that's basically it's a hospital for criminals. And so it's set in the not too distant future, and it's a hospital for criminals that's run by Jodie Foster, who plays the nurse. And there's 10 different characters that show up at this hospital from being involved in different crimes and different kinds of things. Jeff Goldblum plays a mob boss, and Zachary Quinto is his screw-up son. You've got Sterling K. Brown, a whole bunch of Charlie Day's in it. Dave Bautista, I guess, plays another kind of nurse in this thing.
Right.
So it looks like a pretty interesting movie. One of those ones that's more of like a whole bunch of little stories all tied together.
Sort of ensemble cast, interesting stuff happening. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, there's that. And then we don't have it queued up, but there's also a new trailer we got out for Bad Times at the El Dorado, which is also a similar thing. It's got John Hamm in it. I think it's got a pretty crazy cast. Chris Hemsworth is in it, and it's another similar thing like this where a lot of terrible things seem to happen in this one little spot.
Sure.
So yeah, that's kind of a movie trope, but those kind of movies, if you like them, they're usually pretty fun when you get those casts. So that's something to look out for too.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But yeah, this Hotel Artemis is out this weekend. We don't know if it's going to be amazing, but it's probably worth seeing.
It's definitely one I'll watch. Yeah. I would say.
Is this beer theater?
It's beer theater.
Okay.
It's beer theater.
Could go Netflix. Hard to say.
It's on the borderline.
All right, yeah.
But I will definitely watch it.
For those who don't know, Greg has a 3-tier
My 3-tier system is go see it in the real theater, go see it in a beer theater, or second run, or watch it on Netflix.
And then there's, of course, do not watch.
Then there's do not watch.
Yeah. It's so much cleaner than just the 2 thumbs up.
I
really think you've got this thing dialed in.
System, copyright between the streams. All right.
BTS.
Taking a look here, just going back to our question in the beginning about the horror movies, Deborah said some of these new horror movies are too scary. I go back to 1980, The Shining with Jack Nicholson, and the Poltergeist movies.
Yeah, but
spooky.
They're not any scarier than that.
The Shining is terrifying.
Go watch Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I mean, there's nothing scarier than that.
Yeah. The Shining really messed with my head.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's because I watched it when I was 12, though, but it's still scary.
Ooh. Come play with us, Daddy.
Yeah, elevators with oceans of blood coming
in. That will never leave in the bathtub scene.
Yeah, oh, God.
Rhonda says, scarier the better for me. So, yeah,
it all kind of
depends on what you're looking for. Vicky says, scary is fine. I just don't like the gratuitous blood and gore. I'll agree. I'm not a big blood and gore person either.
That's the torture, the torture porn stuff, which I think is really pulling away. I think it's really, like I said, kind of getting back to basics about more psychological. Of course, there's going to be some slasher stuff out there. But.
That's why I will never watch Hostel. I've never seen Hostel.
I'm not a fan of
and
that.
I will not watch Hostel.
Miserable.
That sounds
like a
awful,
miserable time.
And I like traveling, and that is not something I want in my head. So I will never watch Hostel.
Oh, those people are not nice people.
All right, we've got some other trailers and some casting news to talk about in a few different things. I'll give this one really briefly. I don't know what to say with this beyond the title here. Star Wars Episode 9 is, of course, filming right now. And there's a working title because they always give a kind of a fake title for these movies. So that way nobody can say, like, oh, they don't just say,
right, so
Star
they just
Wars
call
movie
it that
filming
around the set. And then they're like, yeah, absolutely.
The working title is Trixie, is the production title for Star Wars Episode 9.
Yeah, it's a crossover. They're going to bring in Gollum with Lord of the Rings, Trixies.
Oh, wow. That was a good tie-in right there.
It's a nice little fantasy sci-fi crossover.
Trixies. So Trixie is what it is. TR and then the Roman numeral 9.
That's not.
We're going to get a Gollum impression today?
I was trying, but
that kind of day?
I'm tired. I can't do it.
Come for the horror. Stay for the Gollum impression.
What's taters?
That was actually kind of good.
That's not bad.
All right. So there you go. That's what we have for that. Moving on to some other news that we had this week. Of course, last week we were talking about Top Gun, which is going to be coming out July 12th, 2019.
And look at what they did. We're talking about it again this week.
Yep.
Because that's how they do it.
We all know America's Tom Cruise will be starring in it, but also
as opposed to the USSR's Tom Cruise, which
coming back. And this is not confirmed, but I guess it's pretty much confirmed that he's been around the set for quite a while and staying in the same hotel.
He said he wanted to be in it a long time ago.
It is that Mr. Val Kilmer will be back as the Iceman in the next movie, which you have to have Iceman.
Yes.
I mean, you just have to.
You do. And, we were giving him some hell about gaining weight, but it turns out it's more serious than that. He's been out of the game for a little bit. I guess he got sick for a while, and he's sort of come back. We don't even really know quite the circumstances, but Val Kilmer, we were talking about it. In all seriousness, I love that guy. He was a big part of my movie watching fun as a kid. For those who haven't seen Real Genius or Top Secret, they're both comedies that he absolutely leads, and they would be nothing without him. He just sort of runs those movies. He was quite a fantastic actor in his day, and still is, I think. So I'm really glad to see him as a part of this movie. Like you said, I don't think you can do Top Gun without Iceman.
No.
You gotta have
Iceman.
Gotta have him.
Yeah.
So this is very good to hear for Top Gun fans everywhere.
Absolutely. That makes me want to watch the movie more, and I'm not even a huge Top Gun fan, but because he's in it.
This is main theater time, pal.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's true. This will be big theater. So that's, we got to wait a year for that one, July 12th, 2019. Moving on to a couple other.
Well, we already waited like 35, so it's probably fine.
I think it's all right, yeah. We've got a few other things here to just go over and fill you in on, and then we'll circle back around and talk about horror movies here in a minute. We did get a trailer for the Bumblebee movie.
Yeah, so you know
Bumblebee, Transformers Bumblebee.
So I'm excited about this. I don't care.
Yeah. Well, it's being directed by Travis Knight.
It's Travis Knight from Kubo. And, my wife used to work at that company, but I just think he's quite a visionary. And I think this trailer's got a lot of heart. I think Haley Steinfeld's got the skills to run it. I think that the robot looks very human. I believe the story right from the start. From this trailer, I'm pretty excited about this. I know that the Transformers universe has been in disarray for a couple of films, and it's never been maybe Oscar bait, but I think this movie looks good. I'm going to watch it.
Well, on this one, it's a prequel, so it's taking place in 1987. It's kind of a prequel to all of the movies, and Bumblebee being Bumblebee.
John
Cena's in it. Man. I think John Cena looks like he's the bad guy in this.
Yeah, or he's the military.
I can't handle this.
He's the guys in the white suits from E.T.
Yeah,
because this is essentially E.T. only with robots.
Oh,
but
God, that's still a terrifying scene.
Yeah, that is a terrifying scene. Yeah, absolutely.
That still gives me nightmares. All right, so Bumblebee,
December. You were like 5.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Oh God, that was scary when he turned white. Ugh.
Yeah, that wasn't good.
All right, December 21st, 2018 is when you get to see the Bumblebee movie, and we have the trailer up at Digital Trends. Bouncing around, just kind of a potpourri of things for this week that we've got. We do have some news about Star Trek Discovery Season 2, and it comes from a couple of interviews and a Facebook Live event that they did, and apparently the next season is going to be focusing a lot on the aliens.
Oh, okay.
On the aliens from this last season. So I have not watched Discovery Season 1 yet. I know I need to get in and do that, but seeing some of these pictures of what the aliens look like, I'm like, okay.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like a million eyes on one of them. Yeah, I'm kind of interested in this. Yeah. I like when they focus on the aliens. So Discovery Season 2. You'll get all the aliens you can handle, apparently.
They're doing it, and they're making people come to their streaming service. Who knew? I think we were both major detractors. We thought there was no way it was going to fly, but it turns out Star Trek will drag you anywhere.
It really will.
So yeah. Good on them for CBS and All Access. They know what they're doing, I guess.
Bouncing through our random news from the week, just to keep you informed on things. You may have seen the trailer for this. It's a remake of a remake of a remake. It's A Star is Born. They're making another one. It's coming out October 8th. It's Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper and Dave Chappelle actually starring in this one.
That sounds like the beginning of a weird joke.
It really does. Yeah.
They all go into a bar.
Yeah. Right? And so this movie was originally in 1937, and then it came out another one in the 50s, and then the 70s one starred Barbara Streisand and Chris Christopherson, and it's about a male singer who's already popular and kind of on his way down, and he brings up a female singer who's on the way up. So they're crossing paths.
Yes.
One star is falling, one is rising.
And Bradley Cooper is the wash-up.
He's the yeah. Well, he's a star, but he's going downhill, I guess is basically what the story is. And
wow, looking at Lady Gaga looking so normal, it's like, that's a shocking acting performance right there.
Yeah. Well, people are already saying, I guess, that this could be an Oscar thing. Lady Gaga could be up for an Oscar because I guess her performance is so good.
It looks really well shot. Just
it does.
From the trailer as well.
I'll
give it that right now. It absolutely does.
Yeah. So that's going to be coming out October 8th is when you'll get to see that. Some other casting news and some images we've gotten to see.
This is straight for us right now, man.
Yeah.
1990s.
Yep.
90210 action.
Right.
So apparently he's already... I'm sorry. I'm getting ahead of ourselves.
Well,
you go ahead.
Let's say. So Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is Quentin Tarantino's next movie that he's going to be filming sometime soon. And if you don't know, it's generally about the Manson family, kind of tangentially. I don't know how they're going to tie it all in, but the Manson family in California during that time. During the time of the murders. And it's already got Margot Robbie starring as Sharon Tate. You've got Leonardo DiCaprio, Bradley Cooper. All of the hits pretty much from his past Tarantino movies.
Wait, Bradley Cooper or Brad Pitt?
Oh, Brad Pitt. Sorry. Brad Pitt.
I was like, wait, did Bradley Cooper jump in?
I wouldn't be surprised if Bradley Cooper does jump in.
I don't know.
No, Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio. You also have Kurt Russell, Tim Roth, Michael Madsen.
Yeah, his old
Burt
players.
Reynolds. And Timothy Olyphant apparently is also starring in it.
Not surprised.
But the casting news that we have.
Yeah, so also Dakota Fanning and Damian Lewis, I think. And then also Luke Perry.
Yes, 90210 is
from
Luke Perry.
90210 fame. Apparently, I didn't realize that, but somebody else has already given him a job recently. He is in Riverdale.
Yeah, which
as
I have
the dad of the kids.
I have not watched Riverdale, but I understand it's quite popular.
The dad of the Archie character.
Oh, okay.
And fun
He's
fact
the Archie
about
dad.
Riverdale, they've also come up with their own fake drug called Jingle Jangle.
Oh, please don't
Did
ever
you
say
know
that
that?
again. I'm going to bleep that out of this show.
Then I got into this. I'm going to digress for a second here. There are all these weird drugs that people made up, so I started thinking about it. Remember RoboCop 2? They had a drug called Nuke. And there's a kid who ran the crime family. And then there was this really back movie. You're going to have to check this out. Go back into the files. It's called Prayer for the Roller Boys. And it's about it's about skateboarders. And Corey Haim stars. And they have a fake drug called Mist. And so look this up. There's all these articles about all these fake drugs out there. It's really a weird.
You got to get off the Mist, man.
You can fall down a rabbit hole real quick on this one.
That is actually, I will fall down.
But I digress.
Hole. Yeah, you need to write an article about that. All the
we were
drugs.
thinking about it, but there's already a lot out there. But I have my opinions of the best ones, and I think mine's the best.
Which best fake drug you would have?
Just the coolest, funniest, stupidest ones that are out there. So
okay. Well, anyway,
what are we talking about?
Once upon a time in Hollywood.
Right.
Something, again, just bouncing through a couple more things here, and then we'll circle back around and talk about the horror movies here at the end. We do have this, in case you didn't know about this as well, Terminator is back with probably a new 3 movies, and it is bringing back not only Arnold Schwarzenegger, but also Linda Hamilton. We got a picture of her on set. And she is back as Sarah Connor, looking, much older. And
Gabriel Luna is playing the next Terminator.
And Gabriel Luna will be the next version of the Terminator, which I didn't know who he was. I guess he plays Ghost Rider in the Marvel television series. So, yeah, in Agent Shield, or Shield, Agents of Shield.
There it is.
There, I worked it out.
You got it.
Just had to work through it a little bit.
Associations.
Right? So he is going to be the new version of the Terminator machine. How that's going to work, I don't know. Whether he changes forms or something. We'll
I don't know what else they're going to do. They had the liquid metal already, and then they had the stupid one from 3 where she can make guns, but she's basically just a magnet. Or that's how she gets beaten by a magnet. That was the dumbest thing about Terminator 3.
She did get beaten by a magnet.
Beaten by a magnet.
So, yeah.
They should just go back to liquid metal. I hope they just go back to liquid metal. That was the coolest one.
We will have to see.
Yep.
All right, so we have that. Just a couple more things, and then coming back to horror movies. So again, let us know what your favorite horror movie is of the last 5 years, and because I want to find some more to watch.
Yeah.
We have another image from set of John Wick 3, and again, I know for the podcast people, just to explain this, it's Halle Berry is going to be in John Wick Chapter 3. So that's cool.
Yeah, she looks like a badass.
Yep.
She's got some really mean-looking dogs next to her.
Yep, she has mean dogs, and she's wearing leather, so it must
leather.
be Halle Berry. And she is going to be on it. So she's going to be Sophia in the next John Wick movie.
All right.
There we go. That's all I had on that one, but I know people are John Wick fans. Figure I'd let you know about that one. And finally, we do have a Between the Cracks before we circle back. And this one, it's not one that's not unknown, but I think a lot of people have not watched it yet.
Yeah, I'm hooked on this Barry show.
Yeah, Barry, which is on HBO right now. And I think has the season wrapped up?
It's close if it hasn't. I think I'm 5 episodes in, and there's 8 total, so it's very close if it hasn't wrapped.
And it stars Bill Hader and Henry Winkler, Stephen Root. It's actually got a really great cast.
Yeah, Stephen Root, he's so great in it. So
Stephen Root's good in everything.
For those who don't know, this is about Bill Hader plays a character who is essentially a super badass. He's
a hitman.
Jokingly reference Jason Bourne. He's a killer of great proportions, but he is also a fairly quiet guy and very
he just
socially
does his job.
Socially awkward, and he came out of the military and just was good at this, so he fell into it. But he decides he wants to be an actor. And a lot of it, the impetus is he really falls for this girl who's such a funny Hollywood
stereotype of an actor,
cliche. It's just hilarious how much and they do a really good job of it, giving that Hollywood feel of going to the auditions and just they've done a really interesting job of melding this all into it.
Well, and she's actually a Broadway actress.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's why it makes so much sense that she's so over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, great.
There's a lot of unknowns that are, in this. I don't recall her name at the moment. If you can look it up.
I apologize.
But yeah, so Bill Hader's just amazing in it. Henry Winkler plays this sort of washed-up actor who's an acting teacher, and his students revere him, and he's freaking great in it. You always forget how awesome Henry Winkler is. He just is sort of subtly great, you know, if that makes sense. In Arrested Development, he's so funny.
And Sarah Goldberg, by the way,
thank you. And then Stephen Root in this, and she's great. And Stephen Root in this, like, for those who don't know Stephen Root, he's been in everything from News Radio to Oh Brother, Where Art Thou. He's always fantastic, and he plays sort of Barry's handler / partner / sort of guy who's trying to control him.
Milton in Office Space.
Yes,
I mean,
but he is a fantastic actor. So yeah, this show, if you're looking for something a little quirky, it's funny, it's a little bit violent, it's a little bit dark, but
it's got a little of everything.
It's got nice hybrids in it. They run in with this gang, and the characters in this like Russian gang are hilarious.
Yeah, they're great.
So yeah, if you haven't seen Barry yet and you're looking for something different, we're going to recommend that.
There you go. So that's your Between the Cracks, which is kind of a series or
and it's on HBO, by the way.
Don't think it's getting enough attention. So we always like to hear from you too, and let us know what ones you're watching or that you think we should check out, and send us an email anytime, podcast@digitaltrends.com. So circling back to our question at the top, what's the best horror movie in the last 5 years? We know yours.
It Follows. It's a tough one, but I'm going with It Follows.
And It Follows is on Netflix right now. You can go there and watch that. I don't know what my favorite one is of the last 5 years. It's honestly hard for me to say. Like, I need to watch them. That's why I want to check out our list. I'm gonna watch The Witch.
You gotta watch The Witch.
I will watch The Witch. I did like It Follows. I mean, I think that's a great one. I think Get Out's great. But I'll watch The Witch.
Watch The Witch and just be ready to sit in the corner by yourself, like wondering what you've done.
Sweet.
No, it's not that bad.
That's why I don't watch horror movies.
It's a pretty amazing ending. You're just gonna be like, what? But it's great.
What happened? All right.
What happened?
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Again, Between the Streams, we do this show live every Friday at noon Pacific time, and then the podcast goes up almost immediately afterwards. So we really want you to subscribe to the podcast if you could. It's on iTunes or wherever you get podcasts. Just hit that subscribe button to Between the Streams. Leave us a review. Share it with your friends. We just try to get you prepared for the weekend and the week ahead, and catch you up on all the biggest news in movies and television every week. And we love doing it, and we love it when you can join us and listen to the show. And I think that's about it.
Yep.
All right.
You nailed
Thanks for watching. Then I didn't know where to go. Now I'll just sit here awkwardly. All right. We'll see you next week with another episode.
All right. Fine.